So you guys, it's a four bedroom?
It's a three.
Three.
It's a three bedroom, four
Well,
bath.
It's a three bedroom with the maid's room.
yeah,
Okay,
So,
and four baths
yeah, four and a half.
with a
yeah,
four and a half with a balcony, and you got it for
yeah.
157. Coming from California, wow.
Yeah.
Hi, can I ask you a favor? Adventure Freaks is growing, but most of you watching haven't subscribed yet. If you enjoy this content or find it helpful, hit that subscribe button. It's free, and it really helps us continue to bring you more tips and ideas for living better abroad. All right, so today we are heading down to Mexico
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Marc and Paulette. Marc and Paulette, how you doing?
We're doing
Good.
fantastic, Ray. It's good to be back with you again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to see you. So for the viewers, we did a podcast probably a year and a half ago, touched on what was going on in Mexico, cost of living, getting there, visa. We'll do the same thing this time. So if anybody wants to go back and look at that, a lot of the information is still relevant. This is just an update. But how you guys been doing? How are things going there?
Good, good. We took
Good.
in another street dog on our way driving back from the
Yeah.
US halfway into Mexico that was in need. So now we have four street dogs.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
That's I have a friend Veda who lives in Baja,
Hmm.
Mexico, and she built a house over there and she's done the same thing. She has four or five dogs and
Yeah.
they're strays and she's helps them and dogs are amazing. That would
Yeah.
be the hardest thing to like, you'd fall in love with the dogs and then you're like going, okay, I can't travel anywhere now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
And
makes it hard for us to travel. We have to get a house sitter.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So well, let's start out, you guys, by giving the viewers a little bit of backstory about who you are, where you're from, and how you landed in Mexico.
You want to take it?
Sure. We are Mark and Paulette. We lived in California for all of our lives. We knew that we would never really be able to retire early there,
Mhm.
just because of the cost of living. And so we started looking at other places to live outside of the United States. We looked at Spain, looked at Portugal, and we actually visited each of those places.
In Ecuador.
And we went to Ecuador twice to look at that.
Mhm.
Um,
We were considering Panama and some other places too, but
yeah,
we never went to visit.
like Uruguay, Paraguay, places
Mhm.
like that. And then in 2018, we came down to Mexico, to Guanajuato, and just fell in love with Mexico.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We were here for about 3 weeks and we just loved the vibe that we found. It was close enough to California if we needed to get back to our kids, our grandkids, family. So it worked out pretty well. We just fell in love with the people, the vibe, everything.
Yeah.
And so the following
And,
year we did it.
and
So
that was a thing for us. If there was some family emergency where we needed to get back, um, Ecuador and Spain and Portugal, that would have been about 24 hours
hmm
for back then.
With your layovers and
Yeah,
all that
Yeah.
stuff, couldn't get back in a hurry. In Mexico, you could be there in about 5 hours.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so when you guys first left, you flew into Mexico City, I'm guessing?
No, we flew into Leon.
When we,
Leon.
you mean when we went on vacation
No,
first?
when you moved to
We
Mexico.
drove.
We drove
Oh,
our
you
car.
drove down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay, so then you were living in what city first?
Morelia.
Morelia,
Morelia.
the state
Okay.
of Michoacan.
Okay,
Okay.
then you said
Yeah,
Guanacaste.
Guanajuato,
Guanajuato.
Okay.
it's another area in Mexico.
Mhm.
That's a city, right?
It's a city and a state, but
Mhm.
we were in this city of Guanajuato, also located in the state of Guanajuato.
Okay, because I hear
Yeah,
that's very beautiful there.
It is.
it
It is.
is. It is.
Uh,
It's hilly.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Lots of color. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, and I hear that the rentals are really affordable. Are they
Yeah,
still there?
Yeah.
I think they are. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
they're pretty reasonable.
Okay. So then you guys landed in San Luis Potosí.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That's where you're at now. So
yeah,
you landed in a town that most people have never heard of.
Yep.
How did
that's true.
how did you discover this town? How did you land there? How did you find it? Not sure which country is the best fit for your move abroad? The Ideal Destination Finder takes the guesswork out of the process. It's a customized 22-question assessment that reveals your top 3 destinations based on your lifestyle, priorities, and budget. Instead of spending months researching and second guessing, you'll get a clear, personalized shortlist to guide your next step abroad. And it could save you thousands by avoiding the wrong move. You can get started now at adventurefreaks.com. Just scroll down a little bit and you'll see the Ideal Destination Finder on the left. Just click it and start the assessment. I also put the link in the description, or you can click the QR code above. Now let's get back to the video.
You want to take that?
Yeah, we were driving back to the States. We were living in Morelia. Our year lease was almost up. We were heading to the United States, and then we decided to stay the night in this little town and checked it out that evening, and it was just really nice. The Central Historical is a lot like another place that's very high on the map for a lot of expats called San Miguel de Allende.
Yes.
But the expat community is nothing like that. So we thought it was really adorable. We really loved
Mhm.
it. The old buildings, the historical area to walk around. And then we thought, okay, we're going to go to the States. When we come back, we'll stop over again and see what we think. So
Mhm.
we stopped over again, stayed maybe a little bit longer,
Days, yeah.
and we really loved it. And since our lease was up, we thought, well, hey, let's move there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she said little town. Uh,
Well,
San Luis Potosí is a city of about 1 million people.
yeah.
Okay. Wow. So I did not realize it's that big.
Yeah, well, there's on the outskirts and stuff like that. We're more in the city. We've got our 5 malls. We've got or maybe 6 now. We've got a lot of car dealerships. We got a Home Depot. We've got a
Car-
Costco.
Hmm.
Walmart's. The regular chain stores that Mexico has to shop at.
Hmm.
Um, what else? Sam's. There's a lot of conveniences, and I like my conveniences too.
So you guys drove down,
Yeah.
and you still have your vehicle?
we actually had to sell that because you can only keep a vehicle here for as long as you can only keep a U.S. plated vehicle here as long as you are a temporary resident.
Okay.
Once you go permanent, you cannot have a U.S. plated or foreign
Foreign
plated
plated
vehicle.
car. Mhm.
So we drove that car back to the U.S. and sold it on Carvana.
We went to Texas and sold it through Carvana in Texas.
And then
Okay.
Then we took the bus back to Mexico, and then we bought a Mexican car here.
yeah,
So you couldn't just change the plate to Mexican plate and
Well, there's something that you can do.
you can
Yeah.
nationalize a car if it falls within certain parameters, but it's also fairly expensive to do.
And you got
yeah.
to get a broker. I think it's a
Yeah.
broker to do it. There's
Okay.
just a lot of, it was like, no,
And at the time, we wanted a car that sat up a little higher so it would survive the topes better.
which are,
Okay.
Yeah, than
Yeah.
the car did.
Mexico loves them.
So all right. So you guys ended up going up to Texas, selling it, and then buying another vehicle. Did you buy new, buy used, or
Yeah, we
We
bought, we
bought
bought new.
you bought new? Okay.
Figured that
And
would be our last car.
yeah, did you
Yeah.
guys find it through a dealership there?
Yeah,
Hmm.
Okay. So are they very similar to the dealerships in the US?
Yeah,
yeah, pretty much
I think
so.
so.
Of course, coming from the US, you don't have really any credit rating here, so financing probably wasn't going to be possible.
Yeah.
So we just paid cash, mostly from the proceeds of the sale of our other car.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
And some savings.
That's
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
I was thinking. Okay, so you guys get down there. Things have changed since you moved down there in regards to visa and visa requirements.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Um, Quite a bit, actually.
Yeah.
And So, what can you share today about what are the visa requirements for retirees watching this, considering moving to Mexico?
Well, can we start and tell you what it was when we moved here 6 years ago, what the
Yeah,
requirements
sure.
were?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's
Just to give them an
give them
idea of how
an.
things
Right.
change.
Yeah.
Why don't you take that one?
Well, I think when I qualified on temporary about 6 years ago, I think if I recall correctly, it was about 2,500 dollars a month
Mhm.
is per is what I needed to make or per person. Or there was or you could do a savings amount, which is how we qualified based on our
Which was
savings,
it then? Do you remember?
like 70 or 75,000 or something like that.
Was the
Okay.
requirement that you
Yeah,
had to have in
Yeah.
your savings.
right.
Yeah.
Uh, in a video that we just put out last month, the the amount to qualify for temporary residency now is right around 52 to 5,300 US dollars,
Yeah.
depending on the exchange rate. And for permanent, it's up to, I believe, right around 8,000 US dollars a month.
That's crazy.
So for a single applicant, it's right around 5,200 now.
Yeah, if you're applying for temporary residency.
Temporary.
Now, if you have a couple, you're bringing your spouse down with you. I mean, how much additional is it? Do you know?
That's per person, unless you're doing like family unification, which means one qualifies first and then the other comes in
That's what
later.
he's talking about.
Yeah.
That's like another 13 or 1,400 a month if you're doing
On,
family unification.
on top of that. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot of retirees that just don't meet that threshold.
No,
Quite
No.
we wouldn't be able to do it anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually haven't done I love Mexico. It's one of the most incredible countries I
Mhm.
think in the world. It has it's a huge country that has everything to offer. The food spectacular, but now it just makes it really difficult for people to move down there and live there. And
Yeah.
there are
Yeah.
no loopholes anymore. There used to be some loopholes where
Mhm.
people could stay and then
Yep.
apply. That's no longer
Yeah.
offered,
It's
available.
It was that was the regularization program, and you'd basically outstay your visa by a day.
Yes.
Um, and then you could go and apply through the regularization program without having to show any financials whatsoever.
Yeah.
But that's gone away.
Have you guys seen a slowdown in movement of people moving there because of this?
I I mean, we personally haven't experienced it, Ray, but there's again not a lot of people that move to
Yeah.
San Luis. I mean, but looking at
Right.
Other
Facebook
places,
groups and stuff, I see that people are becoming more concerned
requirements.
about the requirements. I mean, we like on our YouTube channel, Two Travelers in Mexico, we've always told people if even if you're only going to retire in a couple of years from now, come down and qualify now because the rate is going up
Yeah.
15 to 20% every year.
Yeah. We always say that
Uh-huh.
if you can do it now, do
Uh-huh.
it now. Do not wait until, 5 or 6 years down the line because that requirement is going to be
Yeah.
out of limit
It's
for you.
And the way that they figure it now, it's a multiplier of the Mexican minimum wage. So if the Mexican minimum wage has been going up by, 15 or 20% a year over the last few years, that is what that's what the minimum qualification is going to go up by
Yeah.
15, 20%. And
Hmm.
the minimum wage here shows no signs to me of slowing down. So my guess it's going to continue to go up by 15, 20% a year. Now, the consulates in throughout the world, there's also a program that Mexico has called UMA, and it's just a set number, and it's probably 40 or 40 or 50% less than what it would take trying to qualify through the Mexican minimum wage
Hmm.
multiplier. But the consulates aren't using that. They are just the multiplier.
Interesting. Wow, it's interesting. Um, well, thanks for that. You guys, okay, so for people who want to watch this full video that you guys did on this,
Mhm.
tell them your YouTube channel again and how they can find it.
We are the two travelers in Mexico. Um, and you can look, the video that we did, we released it in December about the qualifications. And so it should be currently near the top of our list of videos anyway.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. Yeah, the two travelers in Mexico, make sure you guys subscribe, show them some love. They've been doing this for years and they provide a lot of really great information about living and moving to Mexico. All right, so now the question is, it's costly to get there. You need to
mhm.
show a high income to be
Yeah.
able to move to Mexico at this point. Are rents still affordable?
I would say so, yeah. Um, you know, we have a friend that's currently looking to move to San Luis, and he's looking in about this 17,000 peso range,
Which
Uh-huh.
is,
right around between 900 and 1,000 US dollars.
Okay.
Um, but you can find rents for lower than that too. You know, we have a friend Mike who's renting for I think around 500 US dollars a month
yeah,
at
And
his
where is that
apartment.
at?
2 bedroom, 2 bath, I think.
Actually, it's pretty close to the Central Historical area in
Mhm.
San Luis.
Okay, so you can get stuff for 500 there because I know like San Miguel de Allende is
Allende.
pretty
It is.
expensive.
It is. It
There's
is,
a
but that's a big expat haven.
yes.
You
Uh-huh.
know, a lot of people move there. There's a lot of English spoken. It's a really good area to stumble across when you come to Mexico because it's an easy landing, I
Yeah.
guess you could say. It's an easy landing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
A lot of English spoken there.
Mhm. A lot
Yeah.
of Indians, a lot of Americans.
And
Okay.
it's the same with Lake Chapala, Ajijic is another big landing spot
Puerto
for
Vallarta,
expats. Yeah,
Huatuco.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. And you guys are no longer renting. You purchased.
we did.
We
Yeah,
did.
So is real estate still reasonable in this area? And what can somebody who's interested in checking this area out purchase a house for today?
Well, you know, because you just did, we
yeah.
just did a video on it
Oh
last
yeah.
week, the new
Yeah,
development in
yeah.
our community that's coming in. It's like the third phase. Like there was a phase one about 10, 12 years ago. Then there was our phase. And now there's another phase that's coming in. And Mark just did a video on 2 of the units. So he knows exactly.
Oh, did you go into
Yeah.
the units and see them?
He
I
did.
did.
Oh,
Yeah,
I got to watch that video. That's another reason to subscribe, you guys.
yeah.
Yeah, he just did a
So,
walkthrough.
so um, the the houses that I showed in our recent video, they are a little upscale for Mexico, and they were one of them was selling for 4,700,000 pesos,
Which
which
is,
I think I calculated that to be right around 270,000 US dollars.
Okay.
that's getting up there, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then the other one I did was 5,700,000 pesos, which I believe was right around 320,000 US dollars.
Okay.
In the video I did the numbers exact. I'm just sort of recalling now, but
It's a gated community. It
yeah,
has a small gym. It has a swimming pool. It has a kids recreational area. Um,
but you can still find houses here, for like 1,500,000 pesos, which would be 90,000 or so US dollars. But you might expect to have to do some work,
a
Yeah.
lot,
uh,
a lot of work, probably.
restoration.
Yeah, and you can
Okay.
find more on the outskirts, not close to the city. If
Yeah.
you go out further, you can find them
Okay.
uh, I don't know about that price. I think everything has gone up a little bit.
Yeah, it's gone up a little, but I've seen it every once in a while. Look at like Facebook Marketplace for real estate for sale. Not that
Yeah.
I'm buying any, but just curious.
Yeah.
And I see it for like 1.5, 1.6
Yeah.
million
Now,
pesos.
these
Okay.
places that Mark's talking about, what were they? What was the more expensive one, the 320? What were they? Was it 5 bedroom, 4 bedroom? What
They
was
were
that one?
that one was 3 bedrooms and
Three
4 bathrooms.
for the
Okay.
for that
Yeah,
one?
yeah.
Wow.
But
Okay.
it had an upstairs patio area that was pretty spectacular.
It had a
Yeah.
balcony on one half of the house, and then the other side it had another half balcony.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's the thing, like in Mexico, as an example, a lot of people come from the US thinking, okay, I'm going to look for a 3-bedroom, 2 bath.
Right.
Well, it doesn't really happen here because usually there's a bathroom per every bedroom plus another, common bathroom. So you're looking at a place that's like 3 bedroom, 4 bath is
Right.
like,
Like
Okay.
ours, for an example, is 3 bedrooms,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but there's a bathroom in each bedroom. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's three right there. When you come in the entryway, there's a half bath for guests to use.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then off of our kitchen, thank you, Lord, we have an indoor laundry room, which is nice. A lot of them are
Oh.
outside on the balcony
Yeah.
or outside towards the patio. But we have ours inside. And then off of that is a little room, which they call the maid's quarters.
Yeah.
And there's another bathroom off of that for the maid's room. That's our storage room because in Mexico, you also don't really have a garage.
Hmm.
So, space is limited because you're missing that whole two-car garage in Mexico. So we have actually 4.5 bathrooms here when we wanted two. That would have been just fine, but nope, that isn't the way it works out sometimes.
Yeah. How long ago did you guys purchase your house?
is it 4 years now? Yeah. Uh,
3.5, I think,
yeah.
about 3.5 years ago.
Three and a half years ago.
Yeah,
What did you guys purchase that for?
Uh,
like 150, 158.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
at the time it was 3,150,000 pesos, so it's about 158,000 US at the time.
Right. And
And
we bought during that COVID time. So the
okay.
house was already built by the contractor. He had built 8 houses that were pretty similar.
Okay.
And ours was one of them that we saw. We looked at like 32 homes before we ended up buying this one.
Okay.
I bought this one. We bought this one because it had an open concept with the living room and the kitchen all combined, which is very hard to find in Mexico. Everything is departmentalized. So, like, there's a door to the kitchen,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And I didn't want any of that kind of stuff. And then Mark wanted a nice view. So, where we live, because San Luis Potosí is more mountainous, our balcony has a view of the mountains.
Ooh. So you guys, it's a four bedroom?
It's a three.
Three.
It's a three bedroom, four
Well, it's
baths.
It's a 3 bedroom with the maid's room.
yeah,
Okay.
So,
And four baths
yeah, 4.5.
with a
yeah,
four and a half with a balcony, and you got it for
yeah.
157. Coming from California. Wow.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
crazy. That's a
But then
crazy
keep in
deal.
mind too, you don't have credit here. You're like a 16-year-old starting out. So everything
Yeah.
has to be bought in cash.
Mhm.
But can you
So luckily
imagine?
we had the money when we sold our other house in the States. So
Yeah.
we had to do a wire transfer.
Yeah. Just the thought of buying something with that size of a house in California today, anywhere. I don't know. It would just be astronomical in price there.
Yeah, I think our house is about maybe 2,000 square foot, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a multi-million dollar house in California.
Yeah, probably pretty close to that, at least, maybe a million.
Yeah.
Because at the time we figured, when we bought the house here, we figured, we couldn't even touch the house for 600 or 700,000 in California,
Hmm.
and prices I'm sure have gone up in California.
Yeah. So how many
Uh,
years have you guys been in Mexico now?
6.
6.
6 years. So
Uh,
Mhm.
what is the best thing about leaving the US and living in Mexico that you've experienced? You guys have been there 6 years. So what is
mhm.
the best thing about this experience that you're having right now?
I'll take this one first.
Okay.
I think for me, it's not being hounded by news stations 24/7.
Hmm.
That's one of them. The other one is you just feel the vibe. It's not so stressful like it is in the US. Um, so it's calmer. It's just that tranquil feeling. Um, it's nice, We're retired though too, so we're not going to a job every day,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, it's a whole different vibe that we got away from for
Hmm.
me. I mean, you
Yeah.
can tell whatever.
Well, yeah, I would have said just about the same thing, really, not being pounded 24/7 by a news feed, um, and just coming down here. And you don't really realize, for me, I didn't really realize how much just the day-to-day life stress was causing me until I came down here. And that just all, it goes away.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
know?
That's great. Now, for the viewers,
Uh-huh.
what is the most difficult thing, the biggest challenge that you guys have been there for 6 years, right? So what is the thing that surprised you going, wow, this is hard being an expat. We didn't expect this. What comes to mind?
For us, even though we continue to work on it, it's probably still the language barrier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, but we're still a work in progress as far as that goes. But the good thing is that, I mean, people here will help you if you're trying to have a conversation in Spanish. They will help you get through it and, you know, tell you what to say and stuff like that. And so it's, if you kind of butcher the language a little bit, usually you can just kind of laugh it off with them and they'll
Yeah.
correct you, you know.
Yeah. That's great.
Another thing I have to say, like right now it's January. In January, we need to pay our property taxes.
Okay.
And it's a little bit different. We came from Sacramento, California. We could pay our property taxes online. You
Hmm.
can pay your property taxes online in Mexico. You can also go into a bank and you can pay them. But because Mark and I are old, we get the senior discount card, which is called a
And
INAPAM card. And so we get a discount off of our taxes for being old,
Ooh,
and you get a discount for paying early.
for being
So,
old.
but the thing is that it's a process. Let me tell you, it can be 2 to 3 hours waiting your turn to get inside to pay your property taxes. The other thing that we have to do this month is pay our car registration,
Yeah.
and that is another nightmare.
Gotcha.
You're in a long line. Last year, I think it took us 4 or 5 hours.
Ooh.
Yeah, 4 or 5 hours, and you're standing outside, maybe sitting on the cement if you want to,
Hmm.
for 4 or 5 hours before you get in and you get it going. And then, there's one process and you got to wait. Then it's the second process to get this, and then the third process to finally get your tags. And so it's a whole ordeal day. But I will say that it is a lot cheaper than being in the United States. Last year, for example, our property taxes, you ready?
I'm ready
Were $170. They went up from the year before. They were $170 for the year
for the
for property taxes.
entire year. Yeah.
for $70.
Oh, 70. I'm sorry. Yes, my
Oh,
mistake. It was
so
$70.
wow. It's
Yeah.
it's it's like crazy, but you gotta wait like 5 hours to pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How old do you have to be to start getting those discounts?
Oh, what is it?
60.
60.
Okay, so when you turn 60, you can get these types of discounts in
Yeah, it's
Mexico.
called an INAPAM card.
Okay.
And you have to apply for one. Some places, they're not so easy to get anymore. There's a little bit of talk that they're doing away with it in some
Hmm.
places. Some areas, you're still doing it. You can still use it. When Mark and I take the bus transportation to go somewhere else to travel to in Mexico, we get like 50% off on our bus ticket, which is cheap anyhow, but
Yeah.
it's even 50% off of that. It's
Okay.
like the first 8 seats they save to use for the INAPAM card. If those
Hmm.
first 8 seats are taken on that bus time that's departing, you can either pay the full price or you could wait, for another time to go and use your discount card. So
Interesting.
handy.
Do they give you discounts for like eating out too, or flights or anything like that?
Well, flights on some airlines, yes. Eating out, never.
Is it
Okay.
Volaris? I
Like
think
Volaris, and I think
Volaris.
Mexico might do it too.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're 60 and you get this card, there's certain airlines that'll give you a discount as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I thought Panama has incredible retiree
Hmm.
benefits and discounts, and they give you like 25%, 30% off meals and flights and everything, and it's huge, significant. And I thought
Yeah.
Panama was the only one that did that, but it sounds
Yeah.
like Mexico's doing it as well. Maybe
Yeah.
not on the same scale, but it's doing it. It's offering retirees some really
Right.
great
Like you could use
benefits.
it at labs. Like if we go in for an annual lab test, like that, whatever it is, how many tests you get done for your blood and,
Yeah.
rates and all that. We can also save on that too. They'll give us, and I think it's about 20% off that we get for the laboratories too.
Okay.
In addition, we get a discount on our electric bill and our water bill.
Oh, right.
Oh,
I forgot about that. And which is really reasonable anyhow to
yeah.
begin with. But
Yeah.
you have to go there every year for the water, right? For
Yeah.
the water, you have to go there every year in order to get the discount and present your
Yeah.
INAPAM card, your permanent residency card, and your utility bill that shows that that is your location where you're
Okay.
at.
Well, that's great info. Give the viewers an idea what the weather is like year around there, and then we'll
Beautiful.
dive into what your utilities cost.
Okay.
Well, yesterday, the weather was 78 during the day. Perfect. Where we live, we have no humidity. So we
Wow.
love because we're, more mountainous than the ocean. The ocean, you're going to get your humidity for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so it was really nice. Now, the evenings, it will start to cool down. I don't know what the temperature was. Inside of our house, it was 69 last night.
Ooh.
Now, another thing where we live, we don't have central heat and air. So our
Okay.
houses are brick and mortar, right? So it is what it is, unless you have a split unit put in your house for the heat and the air.
Yeah.
Um, you don't have that. So we have like little space heaters if it gets really cold. We have two, one for our guest room, one for our bedroom.
Okay.
But we usually just bundle up. I'll put in like I'll wear like those half fingerless gloves. I'll wear like a sweatshirt, some sweatpants. I'll throw on my warm robe. And when it gets really, really cold, and it can get to the low 40s, maybe 39, something
Ooh.
like that. Night.
Okay.
It can get
Yeah.
cold.
But that's the coldest part of the year. The warmest part of the year, it's probably high
May.
80s, low 90s in May.
Yeah, and May
Okay.
is the warmest part in Mexico. For
But
us, it can reach in the low 90s,
yeah.
Okay.
90, 91, 92, but it's totally bearable because there's no humidity.
Yeah. Do you
But
guys have air conditioning units in your bedroom, or
No,
you
no,
don't? Okay.
we
no.
don't. We have fans in all of our rooms. Like
Okay.
downstairs in my living room and my kitchen area, I have 3 fans. Upstairs in each bedroom, I have a fan. In our TV area, upstairs, we have another fan.
Right.
So we have fans.
Because our house is brick and mortar, it really conducts the cold, which means like if you come in from outside and it's 85 or 90, our house inside will be like 75.
Okay. Okay.
Which is
So
nice, but if it's really cold, then our house is really cold.
Yeah.
yeah, it's almost like you guys are in this area of Mexico where it's a kind of a eternal springy kind of, it's not too hot, never gets too cold. It's kind of in between, which is great for
Yeah,
utilities. You're
Yeah.
not
it
running
is.
heat, you're not running air.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really nice. We usually our weather here is, I would say, in the 70s to 80s year round most of the time, except for May, it can get to the 90.
And then in different from California in June, that's when the rainy season begins here.
Hmm.
And it'll go through like September or maybe even into early October, but it still stays warm. So it's,
Mhm.
it can be rainy, but you'll still be warm compared to California where we came from. The rainy season was in winter and it was really cold outside.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about utilities. How much do you guys think you spend on utilities per month?
We get our electric bill every 2 months.
Months.
And our electric bill in our community that we live in has increased drastically. When we first moved here, it was about what, 200 pesos
Every 2 months.
every 2 months. 200 pesos is $10, so it was $5 a month.
Okay, wow.
Okay, it's gone up extremely. Now we're paying about 1,100, which is about
Yeah.
$65 every 2 months.
Okay. That wow. Do you know why it went up that high?
I don't, but I asked all my neighbors and they said the same thing.
Yeah.
They said, I don't know, maybe it's our community where it's just gone up extraordinarily high. Now, my community that I live in is a middle class, kind of upper class, like there's some doctors, accountants, lawyers,
Mhm.
um, Indian chiefs, no, just kidding. But there's just a lot of variety of people here, and maybe this community, I don't know, they just decided to increase it because they figured that they could. I'm not
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, and a lot of people, even with that increase up to 3250, it's such a bargain compared to living in the US that most
Yeah.
people wouldn't say anything.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, in Sacramento, when it got really hot, I mean, you had to use your air, and it could
Yeah,
get very expensive. I mean, I know
right.
people that in hot areas where they're living can pay $600-700 a month
Oh
Hmm.
yeah. Yeah,
to run
easy.
their air. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that happens. How about with water, you guys? How much you pay for water?
Water, what is the water bill? Because you usually pay that.
I paid it last month. It was 116 pesos, which is about $7.
Yeah, about seven
Yeah.
dollars. That comes every what?
2 months.
Every 2 months.
Okay, so 350 a month.
Yeah.
Okay, are there any other utilities you guys pay?
There's the gas. We're on a propane.
Oh, okay. You guys got
Yeah.
propane.
And so the way that that works is when you can check your propane tank to see how low it's getting. And Mark will do that. He'll go up on our balcony and check that. And what you do is you just call the propane company, and there's many of them here. You just call them to come fill it, and we pay with cash. We don't use a credit card, so we'll
Hmm.
pay with cash, and that honestly runs us about 6 months when we get our tank filled. How big's our tank?
290 liters,
290 liters.
but we don't let it run all the way down.
Right. We don't let it run all the way down. We let it run to maybe,
20 or 25%
yeah,
full.
20 or
Okay.
25%,
And
and then we get it filled. We only do that, believe it or not, twice a year. And I do a lot of cooking. I use that stove and I use the oven all the time because I'm
Yeah.
always cooking. And the hot water heater, right? That goes off.
Water heater and
Yeah.
dryer.
And the dryer.
Okay.
Okay.
But getting to the cost, Ray, about every 6 months I pay about 1,600 pesos
About 80
to
bucks.
fill our tank of, yeah, 80,
So
85 US
So it's about 160, maybe 100 and,
$70 a
yeah.
year.
Let's, depending on the peso, go with 160 to 180, depending on what the, value of the
Yeah.
peso does here.
no, that's
That's very
incredible.
incredible.
Especially when you're doing as much cooking as you're doing. Yeah, that's great. How
Mhm.
about groceries? What do you guys spend per month for the two of you on groceries?
Oh boy. Well, another thing that Mark and I do is we feed the street dogs in our community.
Mm,
That comes out of my Social Security each month. And we feed them because there's a lot of street dogs. They're not
yeah.
mean dogs, but there's a
No,
lot of
no,
them.
no.
We feed them 50 pounds of dog food twice a week. So
Wow.
100 pounds of dog food a week. We feed them in 4 different areas. We give them the clean bottled water. Um, so that alone runs us about $400 a month just to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
But what do you think in terms of, what do we spend in terms of food?
I would probably say, boy, if you're talking food, or are you talking whole household, like toilet paper, cleaning solution, what we would just pretty much spend, I would say, including the food, would be about 1,600 a month
Okay.
US. But again, I'm taking on an extra 400 on feeding the street dog. So 16, minus 400 would be about $1,200 a month for two people for a household.
Okay, so you guys are spending 1,200 USD a month for food?
Mhm, mhm. Well, food, toilet paper, paper towels, cleaning products,
Okay.
whatever it is that I might need.
Okay.
And some months it might be a little bit lower,
Yeah.
but that's about the average. If I buy something that's a higher product or something, let's say that I buy a microwave, I'm
Yeah.
just kind of averaging it out.
Yeah.
So it's easy to get by. People always ask, "Oh, can I get by on 4,000 US dollars a month?" Yeah, you
Hmm.
can. A lot of it depends on where you're going to live, your lifestyle.
Hmm.
If you're going to eat out every day, if you hit the bars and do a lot of drinking, I don't
Right.
know. There's just other things that can make your money not go as far.
Yeah. For like a single retiree that moves there, discovers San
Mhm.
Luis Potosí and go,
Mhm.
I love this place too. I want to live here. What could a single retiree pay per month based on the cost of groceries there? Do you think they could get by on 200, 250, 300 per month?
For food?
Yeah,
Yeah,
for food?
yeah.
Yeah, I would probably say 400.
Okay.
400.
I
Yeah.
mean,
I
that de
mean,
depends on the number of times you're planning on eating out and stuff. Paulette and I didn't really eat out much. We, make most of our meals here.
right, right.
Okay. So that's the
And I
next thing.
also buy additional like chicken parts that I cook up for my dog's food,
Yeah.
so there's a little extra stuff for
We,
us. Probably not your
yeah.
Yeah,
regular
that
person that doesn't have
We,
animals, that
that
doesn't have
whole
a lot of
town
that.
must be in love with Paulette. That
yeah.
the dogs in that town must just run to you when they see.
Yeah. They, yeah, they do for sure.
I'm
You
the
know,
same.
we,
I'm
we
the same.
realized that we could get by, spending probably a lot less
We
money
could.
on food. But I think Paulette's estimate of, food for like a single person, 400 bucks a month or
Yeah,
uh,
I mean,
is,
there's a lot of taco stands and they're not that
yeah,
that expensive. You can get a taco, what do you get the street tacos for? Like
about
20 pesos?
20
Like
pesos.
about a buck a street taco.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, that's what I was going to ask you next. So I keep the groceries in the restaurant separate. So if you
Uh,
guys think about eating out, like how much can you get like a meal for at a local restaurant in your town? What are you going to pay for a lunch or a meal at just a local restaurant? And
yeah.
um, and that'll give us an idea what to estimate per month.
I mean, you could get a pretty good meal here in a restaurant for probably $10, $12 US.
Okay.
Yeah, are you talking eat?
Like cafe, yeah, each like Cafe Corteo
Yeah,
or
yeah, it
yeah,
depends. It depends where you want to eat. Like there's some little taco places that are here that's a sit down inside restaurant. And Mark and I could get a couple of things there. And it might be $8 for the both of us with something to drink, maybe $9 for both
Yeah.
of us,
Okay.
something to drink. Not alcohol, but like a Jamaica and a mineral water or something like
yeah.
that.
You just
Yeah.
walk up to a street taco stand and buy a couple of tacos for 15, 20 pesos each or
Yeah, like
Yeah.
75 cents to a
yeah.
dollar
So
And
each.
yeah, that's what the young people do. They're like spending, $10 a day on food, but they're
Yeah,
always eating at the
yeah.
yeah,
taco
it can
stand.
it can easily be
You know,
done.
Uh,
backpackers, that's what they do. The
yeah.
backpackers, the young kids, they just kind of
Yeah,
hit the
Yeah.
taco stands.
I mean, yeah, if you were really
yeah,
minding your budget, I mean, you could probably eat on $10 a day.
Yeah.
easy or less.
Yeah.
Like the tamales that we got. You get two tamales, that's $3,
Yeah.
Yeah.
for tamales, and that's pretty filling right there. So that's one
Yeah.
meal
Oh
for
yeah.
three. You
And
get
they're
something to
good.
drink, add in another dollar, maybe 50 cents.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that gives us an idea. Do you guys have any idea? Do you budget per month for restaurants or not really?
Not really,
Not
no.
really.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Okay.
we don't really go out to eat a lot except for, you know, occasionally we'll meet up with some friends, but really it's just special occasions and and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys this. So a lot of people, one of the things that's always a concern about leaving their country and moving
Mhm.
somewhere new is connecting with people and making friends and building a community. Have you
Mhm.
guys been able to do that? And if so, how have you done it?
Our we where we live, as we talked about before, there aren't many expats here, so
We're the only expats
yeah.
actually in our
So,
community.
Wow.
And
we
it's a
have
large community. How many homes would you say are probably here?
1,000, if not more.
Yeah, 1,000, 1,200 homes in
Yeah,
this
Okay.
community. The only
Wow.
gringos you'll see on
yeah.
the street walking the
Wow.
So,
dog.
but yeah, we have made an attempt to meet our neighbors and stuff and build community that way. And we do know quite a few people here.
Yeah, some we
There's
keep in more contact with than others.
yeah,
Some, they're busy because they're a little bit younger. They're
Yeah.
working.
Yep.
Like one of our friends, they're both attorneys. They work during the day, but they're awesome friends. We need them for anything. They'll be right here in a
yeah,
heartbeat.
Hmm.
Other ones we see now and again when we're walking the dogs, stuff like that. It's a nice community because they are there if we need them. But again,
Hmm.
a lot of them are a little bit younger than us, so they're working. We
Hmm.
understand that their life is a little bit different than ours, but they're there if we need them for sure.
versus going to a place like San Miguel or Ajijic or Chapala, that landing's going to be a little bit easier because you hear a lot more English spoken there. You're going to see a lot more expats
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff.
going to be a lot easier. That's a definite soft landing for somebody coming to
And
Mexico.
yeah,
Yeah.
we appreciate the fact that some people need that. Paulette and I, we weren't really looking for that. We kind of wanted to be more sort of immediately immersed in the culture.
Mhm.
And so that's why we chose a place like San Luis to settle in.
Well, I think you're still immersed in the culture. It's just easier
Yeah.
on communicating with people that speak your same language, that you're
Yeah.
not good at,
Right.
speaking the
Mhm.
language.
Yeah.
So,
Which
and,
is
and a
lit.
lot of restaurant owners in like San Miguel de Allende, a lot of people speak English, a lot of the
Right.
locals.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Mhm.
there's a exactly. It's a big hot spot. But the, the
Yep.
the problem with that is you're not going to feel like you're in Mexico sometimes. And the great thing about where you guys live is you have to speak Spanish.
Mhm.
It forces you every day to
Mhm.
work that when you don't have to in other
Yeah.
areas of Mexico.
And I will say, Ray, that the Mexican people are very welcoming people. They, they'll thank you for living in their community. You know,
Yeah.
they'll, they'll go out of their way um, to be nice to you. Or, we walk along the streets, people we don't know, they'll say, buen dia, buenas noches, buenas tardes,
Yeah.
and stuff. And even when we're sitting in places like waiting in line to pay our property taxes, people will come up and say, buen dia and
Yeah.
stuff. They're very big on initial greetings here
Yeah.
before we start a conversation of
Mhm.
any kind. But they're very welcoming and warm people.
Yeah, that's great. That's great to hear. It reminds me, of the 70s in the United States,
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
where, strangers would just say hello or wave and
Mhm.
Yeah.
nod, and you just don't get that anymore in the U.S. Not even in Middle America. It's changed a
Yeah.
lot in the U.S. But yeah,
Right.
that is awesome, and it's true. I spent a good amount of time in Mexico, and every time I've gone down, and I've taken my son down a couple times.
Mhm.
He's 15 now. One of the things that I asked him after the first trip, I said, "What did you notice differently about being in Mexico compared to the United States?" And the first thing he said was, "The people are so kind and
Mhm.
friendly."
Mhm.
And I'm like
Yeah.
going, wow, what a takeaway for a young mind to
Mhm.
go, that made me go, well, wow, what's the
Yeah.
world like that we're raising him in?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it's true. I mean, people are so friendly, warm, and kind in Mexico. It just makes the place even that much more
Yeah, it does.
amazing. And hopefully they'll do some revisions to make it a little bit more approachable with the visa stuff in the future.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know people used to do border runs.
Yeah.
Every 6 months they would come in on a tourist visa and they would do their border runs across the border before
Yes,
that 6 month and then come back and get another 6 month stamp. They're kind of slapping down on that.
they have.
It's a hit or miss whether you're going to get that.
Right. Yep. Now the people at the border are going, no, we're not going to let you in. We're not going to
Yeah,
extend the
Uh,
stay. You got to go home.
yeah,
yeah.
And
yeah. Okay,
so,
you want to come in? We're going to stamp it for 2 weeks. How's that?
right, right.
Or
Yeah.
maybe 30 days. You're not going to get the whole 180 days
Yeah.
like you used to.
Yeah. It's changed a lot. And that's the reality we're living in right now.
Mhm.
So, all right. The next thing up, you guys, is entertainment. What do you do? What do you two do for fun there? I mean, you got beautiful weather year round. You're
Yeah, we do.
living in a great place. You got mountain. What do people do for fun in this town?
People, they go out and they're outside, they're in the parks, they're in the plazas. That's what Mexicans do. They
Yeah,
live a great deal of their life outdoors.
outside with their families in parks. You'll see them
Yeah.
all the time. Mexico, also here where we are in San Luis Potosí, they'll do outdoor concerts
Mm.
that are free, which
Hmm.
is nice. Mark and I just went to a Christmas concert that was fabulous. It
Yeah.
was incredible. It's kind of like the what is that
It
Siberian
was just
like
like a much smaller version of the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, that kind of
just
look and feel.
fabulous. It's
Hmm.
just really a
Yeah.
great show. We went to it last year. We went to it again this year. There's different theaters here. And so, you can look online. You can see, like, we've gone to a Beatles tribute before. Uh,
Oh.
I think twice, maybe we've done
Yeah.
that. We've gone to this Christmas one twice. A lot of, like I said, free outdoor ones when the weather
Hmm.
is really nice that they'll put on. Um, there's different things that you could find to do to stay
Hmm.
as busy as you want or as little as busy as you want. You don't have to do anything.
Hmm.
Um,
Like for us, sometimes we just enjoy going out into public spaces and just taking in everything that's going on here from, families being out, multi-generational families being out, their kids running around playing freely in the parks.
mhm.
Um,
Hmm.
that's and
The
that doesn't
street
cost.
vendors, get something, get some tacos, get whatever you want to get from the street vendors, some churros, some whatever that they have to sell. It's just
Hmm.
nice walking around in the central historical area. We really like that a lot.
Yeah. Now, if you don't have a car in your town, do a lot of
Mhm.
people, can they walk and just rely on public transportation?
Yeah,
Yeah.
where we live, and yeah, a lot of people do. They'll take Uber, taxis, the bus,
Mhm.
Okay.
whatever. In our little community where we live, we do have a bus at our corner that we can take into town also. It comes
Okay.
about every half hour. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that don't want to deal with the driving in Mexico because the driving is not,
Yeah.
it's not real easy. I mean, people drive crazy in Mexico and it's not for the faint of heart. I mean, you really gotta, you know,
Yeah.
be okay with driving in Mexico. And we are, but not everybody is. Not everybody wants to do that.
Do they have any like bus passes, like monthly bus passes or anything like that?
They
That you're
do
like,
They
in
do.
our,
they do.
yeah.
Do you know how much they go for?
What happens is you put money on the bus passes. And
Okay.
so the more frequently you ride the bus, the more you'll need to like refill that.
I see.
Right. Scan it when you get on the bus. So then, and it'll tell you what your total is left on your card. So you
Okay.
could just refill it. You could refill it for $10, $20, depending on how much you're going to be riding
You're
the
going to be
bus. And it
using it.
doesn't expire at the end of the month. It'll keep, tallying whatever you have on it until the funds are no longer there.
Um,
Okay.
but like to ride the public buses here, I think it's like 11 or 12 pesos now
Which
per
is,
about 60 cents.
yeah, about 60 cents.
60 cents a ride. Okay.
Yeah.
Great information. Well, the last thing, guys, that we have is healthcare. Everybody's interested in knowing what you
Oh,
two,
well, we know
what you
that. We both had
Yeah,
surgery here in Mexico.
Oh, this is
yeah.
perfect then. So tell people, for the retirees considering Mexico, how do you access the system? Do they have a public system or do you guys just pay for private insurance? What can you share?
They do have a public system called EAMS, IMMS, which you as an immigrant can buy into. It's free for the people who are citizens of Mexico, but they paid into it through a working life here in Mexico. And there are EAMS hospitals around that you can go to. You might have to wait a while to be seen there. And our first couple of years in Mexico, we actually bought into that program,
Right.
but we never used it.
Okay.
Because we're pretty healthy,
Yeah.
we didn't need to use it, but we had it in case.
Okay.
And private insurance for a year, which
Two
we did,
years.
2 years, which
Mhm.
we did pay for. But the company wasn't great and they wouldn't reimburse us for expenses that we should have been able to get reimbursed
Right.
for.
It was when you buy into the insurance here, it's usually covers you for an emergency situation. If you go to
Okay.
the doctor, doctors are really cheap. You can go to a Similaris pharmacy, and connected a lot of times is a doctor's office right there. You can be seen for $7,
Mhm.
something like
Okay.
that. And he'll spend 45 minutes with you. It's not like,
Yeah.
2 minutes and you're out of the office. You can be seen by a regular doctor. We have a doctor that we found here in SLP, San Luis Potosí. And he charges, I think it's $30 a visit, but he'll
Okay.
really spend time with you.
Hmm.
Uh, Also, so it just depends what you want. If you don't have a doctor and you just want to be seen, you can go to a Similaris, see the doctor right there that's attached to the pharmacy. If you feel like having your own private doctor, you can pay about $30 a visit, sometimes cheaper, $20 a visit, something
Hmm.
like that.
Okay.
Um,
But they're also going to spend probably 45 minutes or so talking to you and reviewing, your symptoms or whatever it is that you're there about. It's not like, you
It's
know,
not like in the US. We had Kaiser in the US through Mark's work, and they spent maybe 5 minutes with you, maybe 10 at the
Yeah.
very most, but that was pushing it.
Yes.
Not, there's no time limit. They go over everything that they need to go over with you until they see the next patient.
but like for my operation, because I had a prostate operation, it was, it
That
ran
was how long ago? That was about 3.5 years
3.5
ago.
years ago. Yeah.
Mhm.
Ran me 1,900 US dollars, which I just paid out of pocket. But that was for everything, the operation, the operating.
Anesthesiologist, a night
Yeah.
stay in the hospital. I get to stay in the same room with him, his IVs, pain pills, whatever, food, all that.
Under
Mhm.
2,000.
$100.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then Paulette had some pretty extensive nose.
Yeah, I just had nose surgery done about almost 6 months ago now. I had a deviated septum, some
Hmm.
polyps like that they found. And then he did a little adjustment on my nose while he was in there. And that ended up running me. Now take that from Mark's surgery 3.5 years ago to my surgery 3.5 years later. And it was in a private hospital, very nice hospital. Mine ended up running $5,700.
Okay.
Okay. But, if you just had nose work done, like a nose job or something in the States, I don't even know what something like that would run,
Yeah.
Right.
not including a deviated septum, not including the polyps. And I had two surgeons, stayed the night in the hospital, anesthesiologist fee, $1,500,
And
Hmm.
you were in a state of the art hospital, even by US standards.
Yeah,
Hmm.
these doctors have to be top
Yeah.
notch to be there. And one of our friends actually had back surgery. He broke his back in Mexico when he was visiting. And kidney surgery, and then he had rehab after the surgery, back surgery. I think he ended up paying about maybe,
5,500
yeah,
US
maybe
dollars.
5,500 for rehab, back surgery, the surgeon, anesthesiologist, several days in the hospital,
Yeah.
and living in a rehab for, I forget what it was now, 2 weeks.
Yeah,
That's
that
so
was
It was crazy.
yeah. Yeah, it's hard to believe that you can pay that little and you're connected to the US. You border the US where you'd
Yeah.
pay 100 times more for the same thing there.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. I
it's
mean,
really
we
crazy.
have Medicare because we're U.S. citizens still, so that automatically slaps on whether you really want to do it or not. Once you turn 65, you have
Mhm.
that taken out of your Social Security check a month.
Right.
So, I mean, if we wanted to do something and go to the US, is it worth it? I don't know, because you still have to pay deductibles and stuff like that,
Yeah.
right? I don't know whether it's worth it or not.
So you
It,
guys aren't paying any insurance right now? You just out of
no,
pocket?
no, we're doing self-pay as we go.
Self-pay. Okay. But it
Mhm.
sounds like you can use the IMMS system. But
yeah,
do you have
If you wanted to, you do have to pay into it when you're a foreigner coming to
okay.
Mexico. You can buy into it, and we
How much
did.
is it per month? Do you know?
Well, that was,
a few years
yeah, that
ago,
was,
and we paid about 550 or 600 US dollars each for the year, I
was
think.
it that? I
Yeah,
thought it was even less than that.
no, I think it was about that.
I thought it was less. Sorry,
So
that was like the first year and the second year that we were in Mexico, and you have to renew it every year and you have to pay the fee.
Yeah. But I
okay.
mean, if something happens to you, you fall off a curb and twist an ankle or something,
You're
and you
covered.
needed to go to the hospital, you're
Yeah,
going to get medical coverage.
yeah,
And
you're gonna get the
yeah,
coverage.
Yeah. What happens though if somebody has a heart attack or a stroke or cancer and they did I mean, do you guys have any kind of catastrophic coverage so that if something like that occurs, you're covered?
No, you can buy it though on the insurance. If you buy the insurance, it
uh,
would cover something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
and
True.
one of the interesting things we found out about like Medicare and the Advantage plan is that they will, in some cases, cover you no matter where you are in the world. I mean, you may have to pay the upfront cost and then hope to get reimbursed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like if we're somebody that were traveling to Mexico, checking it out, and they fell and broke their foot, they would be covered through like the Medicare Advantage plan. At least that's what we found out.
Yeah.
Because we did some traveling in Europe, and I called Medicare to find that out, and Medicare said yes, you would be covered in something like that.
And
Hmm.
I think like if in case of a heart attack or something like that, I
Mhm.
mean, yeah, you can still go to the hospital here and you'd probably have to pay out of pocket and then hope to get reimbursed.
Yeah. Now, somebody that we know that a friend of ours, uh, somebody that they know ended up having bypass surgery here. They were a local. They didn't have insurance. And I think he said that was like $50,000. So just to give you an idea, it was
Yeah.
$50,000. And I think he went, did he have it done here or did he go to Mexico City? Mexico City has like some of the top-notch doctors. That's where a lot of people will go
Yeah.
to see specialists and things like that. Don't get me wrong, you do have them in San Luis Potosí also, but a
Hmm.
lot of people say that the best doctors to go to are in Mexico City. So just to give you an idea, an open heart surgery that this person had about a year ago, year and a half ago, ran them $50,000.
Okay. And he had to pay that out of
No
pocket.
insurance. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
what would an open heart surgery cost in the United States if you had no insurance? You'd have to sell your house, bankrupt, whatever. I don't
Oh
even know
yeah.
what that would
Yeah,
be.
absolutely. It's not, but could he have gotten, okay, so if you're not even paying into the IMMS, you can't have somebody do open heart surgery on you there either because you're not paying into it.
Well, if you were in need, I mean, they're still going to operate on you and stuff. They're not just going to let you die.
Right.
Yeah.
You're still going to get the care that you need for your immediate situation.
I think he chose to go
Mhm.
on his own and
Yeah.
find his own doctor. He could have
Yeah.
done it through the IMSS, the EAMS. He could have done that.
Mhm.
Would it
Okay.
have taken longer? I don't know. Would it have been the same results? I don't know. But he chose to find his doctor and do it himself and pay out of pocket, and that's what he did.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's
You know,
another system here called Insabe too, which is, another hospital system it's a public hospital that people can go into in BC. And so you might wind up at one of those hospitals as well.
okay.
But I mean, there is public health care here, if you so need it. There's also private health care too.
Yeah. And he went to the private
Yeah.
hospital to
Yeah,
get
he
that
did. And he
because,
paid about 50 grand out of his pocket.
Mhm.
right. And you're going to
Um,
get a top-notch doctor that knows
oh
about
yeah, you're
Yeah.
open
gonna,
heart surgery. And it's a
Yeah.
crapshoot if you're going to do the public health
yeah,
or
Yeah.
open
yeah.
heart.
Yeah.
Let me just give you one little thing here. My friend that broke his back here and had surgery, you got a broken back, you have to have it fixed, right? He was afraid at first to have surgery here in Mexico. This was his first time traveling to Mexico, and he was a little afraid about, are they going to do it good? Am I going to have problems? What's going to happen? Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah.
He took all of his records back. He lives in Nashville, Tennessee. And there's a top hospital. What's it called? Vanderbilt or something like that?
Mhm.
Vander something.
Vanderbilt.
Yeah. And it's a top hospital in Nashville, Tennessee. And that's where his doctor was. When he went back to the States, he took his stuff there and the doctor looked at it and everything. And he said, you know what? You couldn't have better care than you did in Mexico. They did an excellent job from
Yeah.
the reports that you have, from all the films that you brought. It was excellent.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people, even in Central America, that when they need good medical care, they go to
Mhm,
Mexico.
mhm,
Yeah.
Mexico is a go-to destination for really
mhm.
Yeah.
great medical care, and you can find great medical care there.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. And a lot of these doctors learn in the States and then they
yes,
come back to Mexico.
exactly. One more question for you guys. You said that you're holding on, you're still paying into the Medicare to hold on to that.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
need to maintain an address in the US to keep
Yes,
you do.
Mhm.
So how do you guys do that?
we do. We have an address in South Dakota.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that address is used for everything that we have.
Okay.
Um, and, I tell them that I have a house in Mexico and that I'm also a resident of South Dakota.
Yes.
That's what I say.
How did
So
you
we keep that address in South Dakota to use for everything. And by the way, if you have a Mexican car, you can bring it into the United States. There's not a problem driving my car into the United States. I let my US driver's license expire because I wasn't going to deal with coming back there to do that. I can drive in the US on my Mexican driver's license, not a
Okay.
problem.
Oh, that's
So,
great. Great
Mhm.
information.
and getting back to the South Dakota address, there were a number of reasons why we set up South Dakota as our home address. Coming from California, where they take out a personal income tax,
Yes.
South Dakota does not.
Right.
And when when I retired, we set up a home base in South Dakota, which is basically just a post office box. But you can get residency in South Dakota just by staying one night there.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Um, and then you can become a
It was the
resident.
fastest place where you could get it and the easiest. And then we got our
Yeah.
driver's license the next day, registered to vote there, did all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. There's a lot of platforms now where you can obtain a address in one of the states. There's like 9 states that don't charge state income tax.
Yeah.
So
mhm,
you can just go online and pay per month, and you have an address, and they'll
Mhm.
forward you all your mail and everything. And then so if you sell everything like you guys did, and
mhm,
you want to maintain an address, you want to just find one of those states Nine
Hmm.
states in our union don't charge a state income tax, so your
Yeah.
pensions aren't going to be taxed.
Hmm.
Taxed. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's a great move before you move
Hmm.
abroad.
Hmm.
Yeah.
This has been a terrific podcast. Is there anything else that you could think of for the viewers that are watching that we didn't discuss? They're thinking about retiring, moving abroad. Anything else come to mind?
I would say wherever you move, whether it's Mexico or wherever in another country, just keep in mind that it's not the same country that you came from. Okay, things are not going to be the same. You need to be flexible. You need to adjust. You need to accept the ways of their culture.
Hmm.
Hmm. Well
I think
said.
that's the hardest thing for a lot of people because they're used to what they have
Yeah.
and there's no flexibility there.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right. Mark, anything?
I would say just, when you're coming to Mexico, be
If they come to
open-minded.
Mexico. If they come to
If they come
Mexico.
to Mexico,
Right.
yeah. Be open-minded about things. There are some things that are going to be frustrating for you. And you just have to say it's Mexico.
All right. Well, Mark and Paulette, it's been a pleasure. It's great to see you guys. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for doing this
Yeah.
again. I
yeah,
appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you for having us.
yeah.
All right.
We
You
we
guys have
enjoyed this. We enjoyed this as just as much as the first time that we talked to you. So
great. Well, great. And we'll put the link in the description for your YouTube channel so that people can find you. And thanks again,
Thank
you
you.
guys. Have a
yeah.
great day, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Ray.
Bye.
Bye.